What's up? Welcome to the Lantern Light Podcast. It's your boy, Kyle, and I'm here with my boy,
Mire Child.
Mire Child, dude. What's up? We've been knowing each other for a long time now.
Hot minute.
And man, you definitely one of my favorite artists, definitely super inspirational to me. I mean, we grew up in the same area in
Yeah.
bumfuck nowhere, Louisiana.
Yeah. The cut.
Yeah, in the cut. Maybe make sure you're on that mic because I don't know how hot they
Okay,
are.
okay.
Anyway, yeah, in the cut. And man, you've been around for, I've just watched you grow as an artist, and I'm super stoked to have, you work with Lantern Light and to be doing this stuff with you. But
Super stoked for it.
do these releases. Speaking of, there's a new release coming out on January 14th.
My birthday.
That's your birthday?
Yeah, baby.
Damn!
Yeah.
That's my boy's birthday, cuz!
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. So
It's funny how that works.
yeah, so new songs. This is the fourth single from your solo project.
Yeah. We're four in now.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's talk about this release, and we'll get into a little bit more of who's Mire Child and shit. But,
Let's hit it.
So this song, it's called Hauntology, right?
Hauntology, yeah.
What does that mean, dude?
Yeah. So a loose definition is, I guess, the study of like certain imagery, certain things that are vaguely familiar to the modern human mind that they might remember, or within media, within pretty much across the spectrum, things that you might you kind of wait a second, I know that from somewhere, but you don't quite,
Is it it's kind of almost nostalgia, or
Yeah,
or it's
yeah.
some what is it? What is the effect called? The Mandela effect or some shit like that?
That's a little different, but
But you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's I think I've seen this.
Sure,
Which that's
sure,
totally
yeah,
different. I don't know what
I've
the
seen
fuck I'm
this from
talking about.
somewhere. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
How'd you
something that, yeah.
How'd you come across that?
I mean, all you have to do is.
Is that an actual word?
It is an actual word, yeah. It is. There's an actual. There's a real definition for it. I just
Hauntology.
can't. Yeah, I just can't remember it off the top of my head. Maybe that's bad. But
No, man.
Yeah, but I mean, all you have to do is open your phone, and you don't have to search too far to kind of find a representation of it, you know, with the whole craze of liminal spaces, for instance, which is kind of what the song is about loosely. It brings to light these forgotten things that people who weren't even born or raised in that time look at it and they think, wait a second, what is this from?
Oh, it seems familiar to them.
Right, and then the whole idea of these places and stuff being abandoned, and there's never a distinct destination there. It's always a hallway or some sort of common area or some sort of it's the middle between point A and point B typically in that sense. But yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So
what tipped you off onto being inspired by that idea?
just the idea of
And what turned you on to that idea?
well, okay, so I was a little late to the vaporwave game.
Yeah.
And so, that in and of itself is a whole aesthetic and a whole, genre, kind of solely internet based. And so, with it came so many subgenres and things, and this particular subject matter is part, I guess, in one way or another, part of that movement. And so, like I said, I was really late to the game, when it first came out, but now it's evolved so much, and it's kind of made its way back into the limelight through that imagery of these liminal spaces. And I always just thought it was really intriguing.
Okay, yeah. It says hauntology is a range of ideas referring to the return or persistence of elements from the social or cultural past, as in the manner of a ghost.
Right.
The term is a a neologism, neologism,
And neologism.
neologism.
Okay.
First introduced by French philosopher Jacques Derrida. I'm botching this shit up. In his 1993 book Spectres of Marx.
Okay.
Cool. And like a liminal space would just be
Right. So, an empty, typically abandoned feeling place, a ghost, if you will.
Okay.
For instance, I saw this really last night. I saw this article that was talking about like there was this mall in like maybe Colorado or something like that, and there was just a whole Burger King that was made in 1986 that was just there was a wall over it, and nobody you'd have to go in like one of the employee areas to get to it. Like nobody knew about it, but this guy went in and like took some pictures of it, and it is pristine, and it's just like a time capsule,
Oh,
and like so, but it's eerie, it's creepy, it's like like the definition says, it's like a ghost. It's like, wow, this is a time capsule of like a like a shell of what it once was.
yeah.
And so like I don't know, that whole idea is just like kind of really intriguing to me.
Yeah, it's super interesting. So like,
Yeah.
okay, so the song that we'll be releasing on January 14th, 2023,
23.
which when by the time you listen to this, there's a high chance because it's a podcast that it's already out and this date means nothing. But you can definitely go check out the song now if this is past that time, and if it's not, then you can pre-save that.
You
thing.
can go ahead
You
and
feel me?
pre-save it, baby.
Pre-save links
Yeah.
will be in the Lantern Light and Mire Child bios. But no, man, it's cool. So like when you were writing this song, and typically like when you do your songs, like are you like hit with did you get hit with this inspiration first and then the song came, or like were you writing the song and you were kind of like, oh, like got to the point where you need to write lyrics, or like
Well, lyrics typically in songwriting, like for me, always come last. Sometimes I might start making music with like a beat, like an idea in mind, like maybe like keep it this kind of feel because it might be about this, But yeah, I mean, like I was making the song at that time and also kind of like consuming this imagery, this media, So like, and so it just kind of worked together, and I was like, wow, like. What an interesting, like you always, and I guess like, you always see this kind of stuff like just like pictures of it and they kind of speak for themselves, But I don't know, I kind of like the idea like for maybe for people who don't really quite follow that whole thing, like, singing about it, having a song about it, to me, maybe like, like might shed some light as to why this is such an interesting thing to people.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And like, your lyrics are totally on the nose with the shit. Like,
I like that.
yeah, it's cool. Abandoned, superliminal, right? You say like stuff like shit.
Something. Yeah, I kind of like, I kind of like in detail describe some of the things
Cool.
that we're talking about.
Tight. Speaking of, in general for your artistry as Mire Child, let's kind of get into some background real quick. So my boy, you've like fronted bands and been part of like rock bands, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
For like most of the time that I've known you, right? So the Ivory Sons,
Right.
was your main project, band wise,
Right.
and is, I guess.
It's my baby.
Yeah, but and everyone go check out the Ivory Sons. We got some more shit cooking, and got a cool ass catalog of music with the homies. But like, what made like the jump into like this more electronic solo stuff? Like, when did that start, and like how long?
So it was. Let's see. So Ivory Sons became a band like 2011, and then it wasn't long after that where I met a good friend of mine who put me on to like beat making and all the things that come with it, so on and so forth. So I started doing it not long after the band joined. It was like a hobby, I would make like little silly like maybe video game renditions of like like a Thundercat song, or
Yeah, I mean, you were
like,
into like making the 8-bit stuff for
I
a while.
really enjoyed the 8-bit, 16-bit music. Yeah, so I got really into that kind of thing. And
And
then,
is that just like a big influence from video games in general?
yeah,
For
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that you do?
I would say, and it's inspired. So like after that, after it was solely just like 16, 8, and 8-bit music, and I kind of started incorporating that element and like elements of what video game music sounds like into just like regular beats and like regular music. And after a while, it all kind of blended together, and then I started incorporating guitar, and then I started writing lyrics to it.
Yeah, I think you definitely have a sound, and like I've always been super inspired by you because you're like super creative, and that's a cool thing. Like because you were doing the band thing. I mean, you normally were like singing and playing guitar.
Mainly, yeah.
So, like-
I still do that, but
Right, exactly. So like most of your electronic songs have you singing and playing guitar on it, right?
yeah. Decent number of them, especially. I mean, this one is definitely a lot of guitar.
This one's like the most guitar heavy one in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe in all the Mire Child songs.
For now, there are some ones that I have that are. There's a lot of guitar stuff happening, man. But yeah, so from the 16 and 8-bit, hobby it kind of snowballed into what it is now. And like I recently found some time to like give it a little bit more attention, and now we're at a point. I mean, like like not too long ago, like October, I played a show, a first like kind of low key gig, and it was
When do you think we'll see more Mire Child performances?
I hopefully soon. Hopefully sooner than later. There's some things that I am kind of like finalizing.
Like production wise.
Also, a couple things that I, T's and I's, man.
Hell
Dot
yeah,
some
dude.
T's,
Hell
cross
yeah.
some I's.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, and
what I did
like
there?
coming from your background of being in these bands, I mean, I'm sure that's just like part of the live show is like a big thing for you. Do you like to play live? You know what I mean? Or are you happy to sit behind the computer? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like that experience of the first performance was, it was a different, because I'm used to playing with 3 other people. And so kind of you have to make up for a lot of absence on stage, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's really well received, and
Hell yeah.
because it's mostly a backing track, it flows really well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
totally. Speaking of video games and influence and stuff,
Sure.
have you ever played Super Liminal?
I have. Dude, I picked it up.
Did that like? Did you play that before you got into this shit, or like?
I played it, and then not long after that, I kind of started seeing it like pop up, and like it made more sense as to why this game would come out, because like it didn't make sense to me at first. I was just playing it, I'm like, this is really cool, but like maybe I'm missing something here, and then you start to see everything else kind of surrounding that subject matter, and you're like, oh.
Okay.
Okay. I get it.
So
so then I went and beat it 2 more times after that.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no one, if you haven't heard of it or whatever, Super Liminal, you can play it on most like every console. It's fucking crazy.
Is it on every console?
I played it on Switch, but
Okay, I mean,
it's
I
on
have it
Steam and
Switch,
Switch,
too.
so I'm just assuming it's
well,
on. Maybe it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's a weird ass game like Stanley
It's sick,
Parable
though.
or some
it's
shit.
so sick, real short,
It's based on perspective, dude. It's tight.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's dope.
What
like,
isn't, right?
Get your homie like stoned or something and like make him play Super
Yeah,
Liminal and
yeah.
just like yeah, totally.
That's a hallway, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So yeah, man. So I'm super stoked for the song to come out. It's been cool. Like I master all the Mire Child stuff. Like you mix and I'll master it, and that's been like a cool relationship, dude. Like you're also good at mixing. So like, yeah, like had you always like taken an interest into like the production aspect of music? Because I mean, I know so many people like writing music or playing music, but don't really want to get into the nitty gritty of mixing. And obviously, like you're working at Fruity Loops, right?
I do work in FL Studio.
And Studio One?
Yeah, and Studio One. Yeah.
Like, what's your workflow like? And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm like asking too many questions, but like,
No, it's okay.
you know what I mean? Like, so like,
That's what we're here for.
like, how long? Like, have you been in the mixing thing, or like, did you take to that? Or, like, were you interested in that, or was that just a byproduct of like
Oh, dude.
wanting to just get your own fucking music out there?
I
you know
mean,
what
I've always just been a songwriter, for the most part, and so like I just recently went back and listened to some. I think I might have sent it to you. Like I went back and like listened to a track that I had made, like at the very beginning, and released it on SoundCloud, and didn't tell anybody, and it was just there, Like sure, I was very like songwriting, like as far as songwriting goes, I was very proud of it. But then I went back to the actual project of that song, and I looked at how I was mixing things, and let's just say I've come a long way.
Yeah, dude, it takes forever. To learn
And so
this shit.
yeah, you notice that kind of thing, and then you kind of embellish off of that. And so like I kind of, after I was like, okay, well now I know how to write songs and compose music on this platform. Now I have to make it sound, now I have to make it sound good. And so I focused just as much time as it took to make the music on like mixing. I can't say that I'm like a mix genius or anything, but
No, you definitely.
I've definitely come a long way.
No, yeah, your shit sounds great. And you're just self-taught, like YouTube.
Right. Well, not even, man. I started like, this is before like the whole wave of YouTube tutorials was a thing. I would just kind of have to like, I always kind of describe it like this: is I had to press buttons and turn knobs until I got the results that I wanted. And so, with that came a lot of learning. Now I do it. I'm sure, like, it's really reassuring too. Like when you do that and you learn how to play in that way, and then like you ask somebody who knows more about it. And they're like, well, I mean, that's how I would do it. Like you're doing it right. And it's like, wow, okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
To be validated by someone you think who knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. And it come to find out you are, you're doing it right. Believe in yourself, kids.
So my boy is saying just fuck up until you figure it out.
Exactly.
Straight up. That's life, dude.
Fuck around, find out.
Fuck around and find out.
Is that right? I don't know.
That's maybe the one time you do want to fuck around and find out.
I mean, yeah.
And is that like the same with like music for you? Like just playing music and writing music? Was it just you just hammered away at it until?
That's any and every creative outlet is essentially the same process for me. Press buttons, turn knobs, pluck the strings, hit the keys until it sounds good to you, and then do it over and over and over again. And then,
did you have like a music teacher or mentor or like school for anything? Like,
I mean, I took, I think I was in like high school band for like a year, but no, I mean, no mentors, no anything. I just kind of, yeah.
I mean, we from the swamp, so like I know you were like. You did like church shit for a while when you were a kid.
I was gonna say that. I know that. I mean, for 6 years, I was, I played on the church band, and honestly, it really, that in and of itself, I will say.
How old were you?
How old was I? I think I was like 16.
Like in high school?
Like between the ages of like maybe 15 to like 20, maybe 19.
Like high school and
high school. But like. It was cool. Okay, so I take that back. I didn't necessarily have a mentor per se, but like in high school, there was an alternative ensemble where you got together with your other delinquent classmates, and you broke off into groups and you learned other people's songs and you started your own band. So between that,
really,
it was pretty cool. I mean, like it was cheesy high school stuff, and you played during lunch sometime, but like it between that and church band for 6 years, I really got like I also never sang like lead or anything in any of that stuff. So it was always background. So like I played bass and I sang background, and I did it with other people to other people's already written music. So it really helped out, like kind of kick-started the whole idea of A, playing live, and B, playing with other people, and C, focusing on like everything else besides like the lead parts, like lead guitar, lead, and I think that's what helped us.
Like warmed you up to get to that point later.
I think that's what helped me with melody overall. It's like, okay, I my job here is to harmonize with the lead and make it sound more full.
And by doing that, you're like understanding what's going on the whole time with the lead.
Exactly.
Damn, that's pretty cool. And before that. Was that like your introduction to playing music?
Yeah. I mean, I briefly played in a ska band when I was like, I don't know, like 16. That was the first show I'd ever played. Like,
Hell yeah.
that wasn't at school or
Yeah,
at
yeah,
church.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I went to a bar and played a show with
Damn,
a ska
dude.
band. I can't lie, it was sick. It was great. Yeah, but
You know, man, it's interesting. Like I think about it, you know, like whether I like go back to my hometown or our hometown or whatever, you know, around there, like Homa or whatever, you know, and it's like I just wonder if kids today are like playing in bands because I was definitely like playing in. I definitely was 16 in some
Yeah.
bar that I shouldn't have been.
right.
and Was playing some like really trash ass music with my homies, you know.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, you know, if you think about it, like, dude, it's so hard to like get instruments and have a rehearsal space and have homies that also have gear and like
Yeah, when you're
go-
16.
Yeah, when you could just grab a MacBook and fucking open up a pirated version of Fruity Loops and fucking like make some fucking SoundCloud rap.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. I try to not to be your typical SoundCloud rapper, but yeah, no, it is really easy. And I will say, out of any like project that I've ever been in, as far as like that goes, rehearsal is very easy. You know, like I literally just have to put my, you know, like my set list on you know, Google Drive or whatever, and then take my portable speaker, and I have a tiny acoustic guitar, and I can go and sit by the bayou and like practice for
hell yeah,
hours, you
dude.
know, like over and over again, whatever I have to practice. It's great.
Yeah,
Rehearsal's great.
yeah, dude. I mean, dude, band practice, bro. You got to get to practice. You got to get the homies, get the ride. You got to.
Everybody's got to be on the same page,
Yeah.
which, you know, like that's the whole thing about being in a band, and you know, like that's like the challenge that you have to overcome. And like honestly, that, you know, that's, you know, it's cool when you can, but it is very easy not
just to be able to be self-sufficient and have your
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
band within your computer.
Right.
So yeah, that's like something I think about, man. You know, it's like, are there any bands anymore, dude? Like, is that becoming like
oh yeah,
a rarity? You know, like I think it. You know, there are always going to be so many, you know, artists and stuff with
Yeah.
Spotify and everything that's fucking going on. Like, you know what I mean? There's like, I forgot what it was, but it was like I heard the statistic for like, you know, how many songs are released on Spotify every day, and it's like
It's ridiculous,
fucking
right?
crazy.
It's insane. I can't even. I think it's like in the 100,000s or I don't know, something like that. I don't
so
know.
it was kind of good to know though.
10,000, I
So
don't
it was
even
like
know.
any plays you get, you know, it's like something to be proud of instead of like
Yeah.
comparing yourself to, you know, oh, like why don't I have fucking like a million plays? Well, it's
Right,
like
right,
actually
right.
statistically, if you have a couple hundred, you're doing like better than like 80%. It was
Yeah.
something I heard that it was like 90% of Spotify artists never get more than like, you know, X number of plays, and it's like not shit, like 100
Yeah.
plays. Like it's
wild,
like
man.
damn, you know what I mean?
It is wild.
But yeah, because you know we would go home. I'd go home to visit family or whatever, and it's like, man, like, you know, I still have friends there. Like I would know if there was like some young kids playing around, but there's not, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Really?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being ignorant. Maybe you get older and you're like, I would know.
And yeah,
everything.
you just don't know where the kids play shows at now. You know, like you don't have the one all age venue that was there. You know, like,
yeah. And dude, fucking rest in peace, fucking Rippa, dude. Rest in peace, fucking
Brick House.
Brick House, dude. Shit, Homa
Man.
Legends, dog. They were music, dude.
Hey, that was the first place I played in
Was
the
it Brick
ska,
House?
in the ska band. Yeah,
Fucking dude, Rippa, dude.
Rip Rippa, man.
Rippa, dude. I will say in Homa though, we played that show recently. Mika played, and the Intracoastal Club is reopened. Shout out Intracoastal Club. Shout out Tony Batron.
Shout out Tony.
Shout out his band Crush Diamond.
Crush Diamond.
But dude, it was like nice as fuck. It was super cool. Like
Yeah. Oh, it's nice. It's cool.
dude, yeah, they redid it. There was like a disco ball on that bitch. Like it was fucking popping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
He
was
reached
dope.
out to me. He reached out to me recently and said, dude, I'd love to get you to come in and play. And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I'm so down. I'm so
He like
stoked
helped
about
out
that.
Ivory with rehearsal space, right?
He did for a long time.
Shout out.
and
Shout out Tony,
yeah,
dude.
Shout out Tony, dude. And yeah, like never had a bad time there. Always a good spot.
And he's so good at drums, dude.
All the homies
Fucking
show
rip.
up.
So
you
yeah,
know.
if you're ever in Homa, I don't know why the fuck you would be, but if you maybe you live there,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you're like, you know, a Homanian dude, go to the Intracoastal Club.
Homanian, I like that. Homanian.
Yeah, dude. So like, man, we were talking before we got on the podcast, like, of just the recent shootings and all this crazy shit in New Orleans,
Yeah.
you know.
New Orleans
and
is
you know, I think like we're lucky to have people like you know, making art here, because it's pretty fucking wild over here.
Dude, it is crazy, man.
Recently.
People are wilding out, you know, like people are kind of unhinged these days, but you know, you kind of have to like have some sort of consistency within the community, you know, like, and
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like that's kind of where creative people and, you know, like people like yourself and, you know, people that do the things that I do, people who just create, people who make things, like that's what keeps like some semblance of consistency instead of
All right,
like people are out here
normalcy.
crazy now. People
Yeah,
aren't out
yeah.
here crazy, and like, you know, like it's always been pretty consistent as
As
long as I've been here, as long as I've been coming
creativity in New
here. Yeah,
Orleans.
yeah.
Yeah, there's always
The
a
scene, if you will.
There's always a scene for sure. Like, it goes up and down, but you know, I think right now
Sure.
music in New Orleans is like definitely kind of on an upswing. Like, we're, I guess, coming out
Yeah.
of the whole coming out of the pandemic thing.
Right.
And it's like still on the up from there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I know, dude, I know you were like, you know, you're trying to like kind of get out to LA. Like,
Yeah.
what's up with that?
It is, you know, still a work in progress.
For sure.
Again, as far as music goes, there's a couple ducks that need to be rowed up there. But
that.
I you know, I actually reached out to a homie who has a venue out there, and I was like, hey man, you know, what are you looking like? What's the deal? And he's like, well, actually, I mean, I'm not booked for the whole all of 2023, so be on the lookout, LA. I might be coming for you.
Yeah, dude.
Might be coming for you.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, man. It's like it's a shame that New Orleans is kind of like, you know, it's like a launch pad or something. Like, you know, people come and go.
Sure.
People come back a lot though. You know what I mean?
People
So-
do come back a lot, and honestly, New Orleans. There's nothing wrong with New Orleans, and there's nothing like, you know. Honestly, I think people get a lot out of living here, as far as being a creative person. I feel, but I don't know. In my situation, I just kind of want to see. What
Oh
else
yeah,
is
no,
out
we're
there,
we're
you know,
from
like,
we're
I just-
from here, dude. You put
Right,
your time
right.
in here, baby. Like,
Exactly.
you know, you the alumni, dog.
Yeah, exactly. We, like, you know, you got everything that came pre-Katrina, everything that came post-Katrina, pre-COVID, post-COVID, you know,
I mean,
like,
sometimes you just got to shake it up to get inspired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know, like, whenever I'm like on a trip or like anywhere, like I'm just like so inspired. Like my brain's just like, ugh.
yeah. And
You know what I mean?
and that's the thing about the scene, you know, it's been consistent, but still an ever-evolving thing. Because the scene, as I've been referring to it as, was much different 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, like there people like you don't necessarily hear about anymore. You know, like it was a completely different thing. Like 10 years ago, skip to now, and like it's the same caliber, but like you got all these new faces. You know, so it's cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
You see New Orleans kind of grow
And I will say, like, you know, now that we've kind of been around, we're like in our 30s now. It is cool having a tight knit community, because, like, I mean, I still see, you know, some of the same people I see at gigs, whether it's I'm playing or somebody else is playing, and it's like the same dudes that were at, like, you know, the old all age venue, like the Cypress or whatever we used to have around here.
Yeah.
Like fucking 13 years ago. You
The
know what I
High
mean?
Ground.
So it's like, yeah, shout out High Ground. So like, I don't know, it's cool that there is support. Like there is something to be said about having like that tight knit support group here, and like definitely can take it for granted sometimes. You know what I mean? Because maybe like New Orleans isn't like a huge tour destination, and we don't have like that, you know, much going on here compared to
Right.
like a really bigger city. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't know, man. Like there's gigs every night here, which is cool. You know.
But you know, I think that's kind of like, I guess, to bring it back to like my music in particular is like, that's one thing I notice when it's not like something that I go for, but it's one thing I notice that like I don't hear a lot of things like relatively in the same vein here. So like that's another thing when it comes to like the things that I write is like, you know, subconsciously maybe I feel like I try to like stray away from what I normally
here.
I guess here, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
not
definitely
just,
have like your own voice, dude. You're definitely doing something like different, and I'm always that's what I'm saying. I'm always inspired and like by your creativity because I'm always like, damn, like no matter what you do, I'm always just like those creative as fuck.
Thank you, man.
Like,
I mean, yeah, there's just not a big scene for that here yet,
No,
you know.
no.
And so, like, I kind of, you know, like, there's a couple other people here that, you know, like, are trying to, you know, like, push this whole like electronic thing. Shout out Glenn Parks, you know. But you know, like, there's not a huge scene for it, and I feel like there was, you know, again, when the scene was a different face way back when, there was, and then it disappeared, and then maybe it comes back, and then, you know, like, but you know, I kind of like that whole
no,
aspect.
for sure.
It's
Yeah,
fun,
no,
you know?
absolutely. Kind of, it's like it's like a revolving thing. Like somebody gets their chance, and this is like whatever's hot, you know, at the time.
Yeah.
Like kind of like, you know, that happens in you know the industry, but also happens kind of like in local scenes too. You know.
100%.
All right, so let's move on to this topic. 'Cause it's pretty interesting. So
Okay.
like AI art, dude.
AI art.
AI art, dude. How do you feel about AI art?
Artificial intelligence. Well, I think it's a beautiful thing until you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, now here's the thing. I it is an art in and of itself to code said AI. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing that I feel like is only in its baby stages right now, and yeah, of course, like anything, people are gonna try to like capitalize off of that, in which, you know, I think that's cool. But I don't know. The artwork for this new track, it kind of like touches base on that too. As I there are some AI elements in there, but the song is about, you know, places that have been abandoned and are kind of just like an empty,
Right, which is
you
kind
know,
of like
you know, like it's like an empty surrealness, which is, you know, what AI is. You
it's
know,
good for
just like,
that. Yeah, you know, like
you know?
did you hear about that video game High on Life?
No.
Okay, so it's the dude, the creator of Rick and Morty, whatever the fuck his name is.
Okay, we're here
But
for
he
it.
like used all AI art in it to make it look surreal and weird as fuck.
Oh yeah.
So like AI art definitely does look kind of like like
yeah.
it looks great, but it looks it looks weird.
Right. If you look at the album, if you look at the single cover, you like, you know, it's a picture of one of these, you know, said spaces, but then you look at the the lights on the ceiling, and they're just there's like
fucked up.
100 of them, and like they halfway go into the wall, and like, or I saw this one video recently of some guy, you know, like, you know, it was meant to do this. This was the point, but like, you know, like he'll be waving, and for some reason he'll like 12 fingers, you know, all doing different things, you know. I don't know.
Yeah. So like a lot of people, I think with that game, you know, it's like part of like this whole AI explosion in the past few months with everyone's, you know, got the fucking profile pictures right now, and I mean, you know, everyone's looking sexy as fuck.
Right.
You
Oh
know?
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And you know, I think people were saying about the game that, you know, it's bringing up the ethical concerns of like artistry and like all this shit. But I mean, like, if his goal was to make it look really surreal and weird as fuck, like, it was good for that. And I don't know, man, like, maybe I'm like, you know, being too optimistic and Skynet's gonna come and fuck me up, but like,
maybe.
I don't know, man. I feel like it doesn't take away.
We're not gonna stop it regardless. So
No, and I don't think it takes away from a human element, because
it's when people are like, I made this, you know.
And they didn't.
Yeah,
that's
like,
not really
kind
ethical.
of like
But people do that all the time now without AI art, because they'll just go grab a fucking stock image and barely fuck with it and be like, you know.
Yeah, this is me. This is
Yeah, exactly. So people have been doing that for years. Now they'll
it's
be
just
able
like,
to.
okay, now we get computers to do it for us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not fronting. It's the computer.
Yeah, I guess personally, I'm just saying, like, I like don't have any qualms with it. You know what I mean? Like, bring it on. Fuck it. It's another fucking tool. It's not the same tool. You know what I mean? And maybe some like low level jobs, like maybe some people that are like artists on Fiverr might get fucked up because this comes through and shit. And like, but I don't know. At the same time, it's like, Who knows, man? I don't
I
know.
think look, I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's used very well. I think application is everything. That goes for anything and everything. Like artwork that isn't good, or I mean, like, isn't good, subjective, but like you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
like it can go for anything. Like application is everything, and so depending on how you apply it, depending on how you use it, like. I mean, I'll be honest, like the whole portrait thing, like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome. It's awesome. But there's a lack of substance there. And it's like,
Right.
okay, now we're just getting this AI to make a version of us. But if you're doing creative things with it, if you're actually using it for a purpose other than like a new profile picture, I have no qualms with that. I think like that's the benefit of it.
For sure. And I was just thinking too, like, as far as like graphic designers go and like people who make like their living on making graphic art, like an AI is never going to like replace like a human relationship. I mean, if you're a graphic artist, you have a client, like you need to update that shit for them. You need to fuck with their website. You need to fucking do all this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well,
being
never
a
say
graphic
never,
artist
man.
is like, it entails a lot more than just sending the art. Just like being a producer or recording somebody, it takes a lot more than just like pressing the button. Like,
it really does,
you know
man.
what I mean?
It really does.
Got to be a motherfucking psychologist. I mean, a fucking therapist in this bitch.
Yeah,
You know
man.
what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta ask questions. You gotta push buttons. I don't know. I feel like I feel like AI we're at that point where it can run a McDonald's if it wants to, but as far as like creating things, there's always a human element that it's gonna lack.
Hell yeah, dude.
No matter how you look
yeah.
at it,
I mean,
But it is a very useful tool.
I mean, dude, yeah, we have random generators, dude.
Yeah. We've always had them, AI has been generating band names for the longest time.
Straight
Let's
up,
be
dude.
real,
Band name generator, dude. I remember that one. That's like the OG one.
Yeah. Do a little survey and you got yourself a new band name.
Hell yeah,
New
dude.
band
Like
name.
the fucking like super blue rhino fucking mountaintop goat shit. I don't know. See, I can't even do it. The AI whoop my ass at that shit.
I like that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Mountaintop goat.
Cool, man. So like, what's like on the horizon for Mire Child and like your artistry? I know you got some songs on the whole.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just to kind of like expound on the sound that you kind of have going now, and like what other artists have like been, because like we kind of talked about some of your influence, but what's like inspiring you right now, like for the new shit that you're doing, or in music and not music,
Not to try to sound too profound or whatever, but change, growth, that there's been a lot of it in my life, like in recent months, and I'm sure for everyone in 2022 there's been a lot of it, but I'm kind of taking it personally and honest, not personally in like in a negative way, but I'm kind of feeding off of that. I'm kind of feeding off of like things are changing, life is changing, and so that's kind of been my approach to a lot of things, creatively. Recently, like I said, I'm kind of trying to hone in on what I have right now. Polish everything that I have right now, and then, but also, consistently try to get new inspiration. And like.
And do you get a lot of inspiration from just visual art? Because that's something I didn't bring up earlier, but like you like are a graphic artist pretty much. Like you're great at that shit. You are.
Thank you.
Like
Thank
you
you,
definitely
man.
are. I wouldn't fucking pretty much being an asshole. No, you're definitely a graphic artist. I mean,
Thank you.
You've done some cool shit. Like, didn't you make like, you did graphic art for like a sample pack that your homie put out or some shit?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And what were those samples? Like, what was that?
That was my friend Jonathan Allen, and
Shout out Jonathan Allen.
and shout out Jonathan
Got like
Allen.
one of the best EPs out on Bandcamp right now.
Shout out Roy.
Room of Mirrors.
Yeah, Room of Mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful EP. And Roy Mitchell.
They put out just a sample, like they have like a company.
Roy has a company called Sample Fuzz Audio.
Okay.
And so he just does a lot of sample packs and like sound.
It's like drum samples or like what was
Drum samples, bass samples. He plays upright bass, so he does a lot of that. The one that I did artwork for though was like drum samples, drum loops, synth samples, effects. You know, it was a lot. It was a huge. I mean, look, if you're check the website out. Check the website out. It's the what was it called?
What's the website?
Oh no, Sample Fuzz. Yeah,
Sample Fuzz.
Sample Fuzz Audio. Sample Fuzz Audio is the company. But yeah, the package just there's a
Do you use it? Do you use the samples?
It's honestly it's all over this new track. Yeah.
Should I cop those samples?
I mean, yeah.
Hook your boy up.
Yeah, boy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Got a library.
So like, you know, you have like the graphic chops. Like, do you find inspiration from like graphic art for music and like vice versa a lot?
What do you mean? Like,
I don't know. Does because I know you do the graphic art and you're obviously writing these songs. You know what I mean? Does that like intersect?
Sometimes, you know, it does with this one. But yeah, I mean, they honestly, I say it does with this one, but now that I think about it, it kind of has intersected throughout every single so far. To be honest, like every single has a cover or artwork that relates
You've
to
done,
it. I've done, yeah, but that also relates to the music.
Right.
So as far as like artwork for my music, they kind of relate together, but
I mean, that's like something to say too, like, which is really cool. I mean, like all the Mire Child shit is like, you know, you're like solely doing all of it.
100.
Like, 100. I mean, I'm mastering it, but that's it, you know.
Right. And you are a master at mastering.
Damn,
so, you know, goated.
Yeah, dog.
Please hit this man up.
Man. Cool.
Please give this man some business.
Yeah, help me out, guys. Hit me up for mastering or mixing or whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's been a blast. So yeah, 14th January 2023, new song drops. Anything else you want to plug, dude? Any shout outs, dog?
You know,
shout out Paul Emden. Go listen to Paul Emden's music.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Paul Emden. Yeah.
Any local people inspiring you?
I'm Paul
definitely.
Yo. Huh?
Paul Emden definitely inspiring right now.
Yeah. He just put out like 20 songs on that album.
There's
whatever.
20 songs on that album.
It is a lot of songs, but like that in the best way. You know, they're all like like literally all of them are bangers.
Damn.
You know, he spent a good 5 years writing it. And it's it's about sobriety, and I think that's a positive thing.
Oh yeah,
definitely an album to go and check out. But you know, shout out my boy Kyle, you know, for hooking it up. You know, we're here.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for being on the first episode of the podcast in like 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, no problem,
let's do it again, dude.
Anytime, brah.
Cool, and we'll exit with one of his songs. Yeah, tight. Later, guys.
Tell me, how long has it been? And do I have to keep pretending like I'm asking the sky for a favor? Guess I could always be braver, but then again, something within keeps asking me, what if I falter? Guess I could take it to the altar, but there has to be another way. Are we not the same? Can you not feel my pain? Am I the only one questioning everything? Getting lost in the flesh like a ball in a rope. I was tethering tiger in a cage, living day by day, praying that I could get out of this machine, perpetual motion. Could you not see that my mother's heart was breaking? Trials and tribulations had her shaking in her bed again. All the while we were believing it was Satan. So what does that say for what you've been saying? What have you been saying? Clap your hands, raise your weapons. One drive past us for the low price of your 10%. All of your money spent, living in discontent, learning to cover it in style, but it's all smiles in the lost house. One quiet like a church mouse. Please tell me, when does my water turn into wine? No need to crucify me upside down. So sick of getting caught in the runaround. You had me searching for something I'd already found. Sure foundation built on solid ground, on solid ground.